The other thing it actually made me think about as well, when you said about this diffusion of energy, it actually made me think about businesses and OKRs and goals.
Yeah.
It made me think about if you take 10 people in a startup and they're all really, really focused on the same goal, they are way more successful.
Shit.
But sometimes you don't have a clear goal and you're all pointing in different directions.
Yes. So there's incoherence.
There's incoherence.
Like
it's kind of like a diffuse light bulb.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you need to be a laser. And this
Yes.
is why OKRs are so important, because you can point all the energy at the problem.
Yes.
This is traction.
Yes.
Towards a particular goal.
Yes. This is what purpose does. Purpose focuses energy. And I think the reason purpose is so powerful, right? And why you need to have that, right? To feel it. I want to say, like, you have purpose. It kind of becomes this must find my purpose, must, like I'm on a spiritual journey to
Which
find my purpose.
stresses you out and then you're in bed
Yeah,
again.
exactly. But when you somehow find yourself in a place where you feel like those things, that are in your life are meaningful, right? And that the path you're on is purposeful. I think what this does is it brings all of your energy that might be diffused like a light bulb, and boom, it brings it like a laser. And then you can go that distance, right? You can go through that half day without eating. You can go through that month, right? Where it's like you have all of these meetings, and it doesn't feel as difficult as it would if you were going kind of all over the place. Focus, I think, brings our energy into a coherent state. And then it feels like coherence, right? It feels like I know what I'm doing this. Then it becomes very easy to say no to this and to say yes to just the right thing, because there's this coherence, not just energetic coherence that allows you to do more with less energy, but also this coherence of mind, right? And maybe of spirit, if we want to go there.
I'm going to ask the team to play a clip. It's a clip of Kevin O'Leary talking about this idea of signal and noise. And he's referencing his experiences with Steve Jobs, who he used to work with, and also Elon Musk.
Look how wildly successful he was. But here's why. There's a concept that he understood that very few people focused on back then in the early 90s of signal-to-noise ratio. What was so brilliant about Jobs that I tell every CEO now, and I don't care if you're an S&P 500 CEO or you're just starting a business, his vision of signal was the top 3 to 5 things you have to get done in the next 18 hours. Not your vision for the business next week or next month or next year, just the next 18 hours you're awake. You're going to get those 3 things or those 5 things done that you have deemed critical for your mission. They must get done today. Anything that stops you from doing that is the noise. So this signal-to-noise ratio to be successful for Steve Jobs was 80-20. 80 signal, 20 noise. And I knew that to be true with him because he would email me at 2:30 in the morning, expect me to get back to him, because back then we didn't have texts, it was all email. He was right. He was right. And the only other person that I've seen that has a higher ratio than that is Elon Musk. He has no noise. He does not deal with noise. He is 100% signal, 24 seconds, every cycle. I mean, the guy is just 60 seconds of every minute, 60 minutes of every hour. The 18 hours he's awake, it's all signal. And look what he's achieved.
And so I can really sort of summarize this for my audience. Signal is the most urgent thing you should be focused on right now, and noise is basically everything else.
No, the goals you set for that you were awake. If you're going to be awake 18 hours,
yeah,
and you've determined that there's 3 things you have to get done, you're going to get those done. No matter what it takes, you're going to get those done. And you're not going to let anything distract you from the 3 to 5 things. If you're a CEO and you achieve that and you can get those done with 80% of your time based on that, you're extraordinarily successful.
In that clip, he's basically saying that the most successful entrepreneurs in the world are remarkably good at focusing on the signal. He said that from his time working with Steve Jobs would be 80% signal. i.e. he wakes up in the morning and he knows exactly what we need to work on. And I watched these interviews with Johnny Ives. I'll actually also play the Johnny Ives interview because I send this around to everybody, so I'm going to play it, where Johnny Ives talks about how remarkably focused Steve Jobs was.
This sounds really simplistic, but it still shocks me how few people actually practice this. And it's a struggle to practice, but is this issue of focus. Steve was the most remarkably focused person I've ever met in my life. And the thing with focus is it's not sort of like this thing you aspire to, or you decide on Monday, you know what, I'm going to be focused. It is every minute, why are we talking about this? This is what we're working on. You can achieve so much when you truly focus. And one of the things that Steve would say, because I think he was concerned that I wasn't, he would say, how many things have you said no to? And I would, honestly, I would have these sacrificial things, because I wanted to be very honest about it, and so I say, oh, I said no to this, and no to that. And he knew that I wasn't vaguely interested in doing those things anyway. So there was no real sacrifice. What focus means is saying no to something that you, with every bone in your body, you think is a phenomenal idea, and you wake up thinking about it, but you say no to it because you're focusing on something else.
There's something in giving your entire being of focus to something, maybe it's in the context switching or whatever it is, that means your probability of being successful at that particular thing drastically increases. Mm-hmm. Solving hard problems is hard. Yeah. But these great founders, they solve them because they're focusing every available unit of energy on the thing. Mm-hmm.